Rurouni Kenshin is a series that has been able to not only leave a huge mark on the anime and manga industry, but it's a series that was able to distinguish itself in a very saturated demographic during the 90s. Now, after controversy, a bad adaptation, and even jail time, the new anime adaptation makes a lot of people, including myself, wonder, why this one? Why not Soul Eater, a series that has infamously been done horribly? Tokyo Ghoul, adaptation that you can't even call an adaptation, or adapt one of the newer series with an already current fan base that people want. But no, instead we got, oh boy, a series that is pretty good, but with the mangaka that has openly admitted to being a was caught with piles and piles of child, and funny enough, he didn't even get more than a week in jail time because of the involvement of Eiichiro Oda, the mangaka of One Piece. And I won't lie, that last part is more likely to be a rumor rather than fact. So before we get into anything else, let's talk about the original adaptation. Now, the anime is admittedly weak. It has a bunch of filler that adds up to 40% of the entire show, making episodes 63 to 95 basically useless. Also, there isn't much being fleshed out since most of the expansion of the story happens in the movies or OVAs, with the Trust and Betrayal OVA being so good yet so different that it doesn't even feel like a part of the series. With all of that said, this series is one of those where you have to read the manga, because the anime truly doesn't capture every part of the story to at least an acceptable degree. Now, the manga and the story is honestly a contender for one of the best samurai stories ever. The story takes place during the early Meiji period in Japan and follows a former assassin from the Bakumatsu, which is the final years of the Edo period when the Tokugawa shogunate, which is a military government, ended, named Rurouni Kenshin, who becomes a wanderer to protect the people of Japan. Now, this basic ass synopsis doesn't capture the essence of the story, however. Rurouni Kenshin is a story of redemption, loss, deep intricate emotions, suspense, action that is admittedly pretty good, and romance that is pretty good too. Regardless of Nobuhiro Watsuki's criminal past or the constant controversy he's been in after that, he clearly knew what he was doing, and the quality that Rurouni Kenshin brings to the table is undeniable, and that's regardless of personal opinions on the guy. Now, the new anime is understandable again to an extent. The anime is outdated enough in basically every aspect, from mic quality to animation to sound design, basically everything. And not only that, the original run of the series was happening as the manga was getting published, so the companies that were animating this, Gallop and Studio Dean, didn't exactly have a choice when it came to how the anime is going to be run, and kinda had to force filler into the anime. So yes, it's a great readaptation choice, but let's get to the one aspect that makes this an odd readaptation. Nobuhiro Watsuki was born on May 26, 1970 in Tokyo and brought up in Nagaoka. I'm not saying that. He initially became a mangaka under the name Nobuhiro Nishiwaki during high school and got an honorable mention in the 33rd Tezuka Award ceremony for his 1987 one-shot Teacher Pon. Later on, Hokuriko Yurei Kobanashi won him the Hopstep Award in 1991. After graduating, Watsuki moved to Tokyo and worked as an assistant to Yoichi Takahashi, mostly known for Captain Tsubasa, and also Takeshi Obata, mostly known for his work such as Death Note, Bakuman, All You Need Is Kill, and so many more. After he then went on and created 3 historical set samurai themed one-shots, Crescent Moon in the Warring States, and 2 sharing the title of Rurouni Meiji Swordsman Romantic Story. These 3 one-shots served as the groundwork for his first serial, Rurouni Kenshin Meiji Swordsman Romantic Story, which was serialized from 1994 to 1999. It was a major success with over 70 million copies in circulation, was adapted into an anime series, several animated films, and a trilogy of live-action films. Now, as far as the rest of his career, such as writing Gunblaze West in 2001 or Buso Renkin in 2003, it doesn't really matter to what the video is about, so let's get to the case. On the 21st of November 2017, Nobuhiro Watsuki was placed under arrest by Tokyo Metropolitan Police for being in possession of child pornography. According to the investigations, he got his hands on DVDs of in October whilst working in Tokyo. The explicit videos all featured on minors in their teens, and reports include Watsuki preyed on girls in late elementary and early junior high. And according to Yahoo Japan, police uncovered his collection while digging into another related case. Now, the amount of DVDs was so much to the point that he was initially suspected of distribution as well. And in his deposition, he said that he liked girls in late elementary schools to around the 2nd year of middle school. So, pretty damning evidence of right? Well, let's go through the basics. The average punishment for possession of child in accordance to the law written in 2014 is $10,000, which is 1 million yen. What did Nobuhiro Watsuki get, however? Well, a small fine of $2,000. Now, the reasoning for this small fine compared to the average? No idea. Is it because of the hold the manga industry has on Japan? Is it because he's well known and just got a lighter sentence? Did the police watch the videos and think, oh, that's not that bad? Or maybe the judge was just a fan? I don't know. One thing I do know is, it's bull that this guy gets to act as if nothing happened simply because his manga was successful. I understand leniency and growth when it comes to certain situations, such as every single dumb thing the Speed does, but when you're in your late 40s being caught for this and you openly admit it, that just doesn't sit right with me. But some people, even in this situation at least, are able to separate the art and the artist. Separating the art from the artist has been coined as a way to differentiate one's appreciation of an artist's music, or in this case manga, from their disdain for the artist's actions. Now before getting into my opinion on this situation, I'll give you the two perspectives and you can decide for yourself. The first perspective is we have to try to separate the art from the artist because good art is good art because of its quality, not the quality of the artist. Just as good art doesn't magically make the artist a good human being, a good person doesn't magically make art that is good. And the second perspective is the current system of separating the art from the artist allows abusers to both hold and abuse their power at will. Even if you don't agree with the way an artist conducts themselves in their private lives, but you still decide to support their professional career, then you're part of the problem. Now I want to give a third perspective, which is just my own, I guess. Separating the art and the artist isn't always going to work. At some point you can't just keep saying he made graduation, but you as a consumer can be deemed evil or immoral for having Kanye on your Spotify Wrapped or in the same light recommending Rurouni Kenshin. Although if you're able to consume the product without financially supporting them, do it. Especially with this situation, we already know what he spends his money on and what he openly admitted. Now my problem with this situation is that the heads of these companies are acting as if Nobuhiro Watsuki did nothing wrong. Light & Films, Shueisha, and Aniplex are all ignoring the actions of the individual that is mainly going to profit off of this product. And I feel like this anime is going to be helpful to Watsuki not only financially but marketing wise as well. 5 years after this situation and the pandemic spiking the number in both new manga and anime viewership, he'll be known as not the mangaka but the guy that got a new adaptation that seems like it's going to be pretty good, giving him a second chance that he definitely didn't deserve. So this brings me to my final problem with this readaptation, which is the inconsistency within the industry, while also diving into a second case that happened 3 years later. On August 8, 2020, Tatsuya Matsuki, famously known as the writer of Act Age, an acting-based manga, was arrested for with a minor, and to be more specific, a middle schooler. But that's not the case I'm talking about. The one I'm talking about is the one that happened 5 months later. September 2020, Tatsuya Matsuki was arrested again on charges because he inappropriately touched a middle schooler. Now I think the elephant in the room is that this case is very obviously much worse than what the mangaka Rurouni Kenshin did. Repeat offender, physical harm to a child, it's pretty obvious. But what I want to focus on is Weekly Shonen Jump's initial response to both cases. The case of Tatsuya Matsuki got a response stating it is extremely unfortunate to have to end a series that has received so much support from so many readers in this way. However, this decision was made because of the nature of the incident and because Weekly Shonen Jump recognizes the weight of its social responsibility. Now in the case of Nobuhiro Watsuki, he got a statement by Shueisha, which at the time was a publishing company of Rurouni Kenshin, saying it takes the matter gravely and the cartoonist has deep regrets. One series got completely cut with the author being fired and banned from making manga a lucrative job, and the other having, realistically, a company apologizing for you. And no, I'm not pointing this out to make one person seem better than the other, but if a bad person does an extremely shit thing, that doesn't mean the other guy that did a somewhat closely shit thing shouldn't get the same punishment, which highlights the insane amounts of bias towards money. Act Age was a manga that was selling everywhere. Story was fantastic, art was pretty good, and looking back, I'll admit I really enjoyed this series. So again, why did Nobuhiro Watsuki get such a light sentence while Tatsuya Matsuki was banned from making manga and jail time? And realistically, the only answer I can come up with is I don't know. To conclude this video, I just want to let you know I'll still watch this readaptation and nothing is wrong with it. You can watch the series for the quality that Rurouni Kenshin brings to the table through its deep-rooted emotion, complex storylines, characters that you either love or hate, and expansive world based on the Meiji era. Also, anyone criticizing you for simply enjoying a show is borderline psychotic. This is a product, and a product is meant to be enjoyed and consumed by a consumer. If that consumer just so happens to be you, that's fine. Just be slightly aware of where you're watching, and if you're comfortable with supporting an admitted that got a lighter sentence and punishment due to the power he has within the anime and manga industry. Also, try not to support the series financially. Animators, directors, voice actors, sound designers, and artists all get paid basic wages or a commission with no royalties whatsoever. And finally, realize that this could very easily be Nobuhiro Watsuki's second chance at not being known as a and basically sport watching himself to all the newer viewers or readers of the medium. So, pirate away! And if you don't know any websites, Google and Reddit is free. Hey, after fully editing this video and rewatching it, I felt like I didn't make myself fully clear, so this is what that is. I made this video with the assumption that there's probably tons and tons of people that don't know what type of person Nobuhiro Watsuki is. A head and a bit too prideful in all the wrong ways. But regardless, I'm not here to play God with someone else's career or decide whether they're immoral or not, even though I believe this one is a bit obvious. My point behind this video is to inform you on what this person has used the money he earned through this series on. So no, I'm not here to give you a correct answer. I'm just giving you all the information I could find with some opinions sprinkled in here and there, and you can decide what your course of action is when it comes to watching this series, whether it be not watching it at all. Even though I said I might just not, simply because April 2023 is a bit too stacked, or watching it on Crunchyroll or other websites. The whole point of this video isn't to cancel the guy, but to have a serious discussion about an artist that has less integrity than a toothpick and a beloved series that shows a completely different framework through its somewhat intricate story. And I know that might be too much to ask for from a community of losers, including myself, of course, but one can try. So leave your opinions in the comments. Are you gonna watch it? Are you not? Why or why not? And one question that I'm genuinely curious about is, do you believe that Nobuhiro Watsuki got the fair amount of punishment? Anyways, happy New Year's, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy birthday, and I'll see you guys in the next one.